Well, welcome back with Talking with Tad. And today we have a very exciting guest speaker. But before I get into having a conversation with her, I just want to let you know why I'm wearing white and why I'm wearing a yellow rose. Today, the day we're recording is actually August 26th. And 100 years ago today, 100 years ago is when the women got the right to vote. The 19th Amendment was ratified on that day. And thank God those women did what they did for all of us to pave that road, to allow us to vote, allow us to be able to be more involved than we ever have. And we've come a long way, but we still have a long ways to go. Just a friendly reminder, just to keep it alive and share it with somebody to let them know this week, it was 100 years ago, the women got the right to vote, which leads me now into our guest speaker, who is really incredible. She's a woman that just was elected as our vice chair of the party, not just right around a month ago, and she's already making major headways within our party. She is one that is paving the road for all of us in the future too. So Kat Parks is our new vice chair of the Republican Party of Texas. And Kat, I would like you to maybe share a little bit about your background and then also explain why you got involved and what are you looking to do in this new position?
Absolutely. Thank you, Tony Ann, for having me on today. I really appreciate it. And ladies, the right to vote, I can't stress enough. It's our voice, it's our freedom, it's our ability to choose our representation. Just so proud that you could have me on today. My background, I grew up actually in a political family. Took some time, career, building a business off from politics, although have always voted and been involved, and then got very involved in community volunteerism. And so within the Republican Party of Texas, I've been a county chairman. I've been a patron with the Texas Federation of Republican Women. And most recently, for the last year and a half, I was in charge of candidate recruitment. So for the entire state, we recruited a record number of women and minorities, which we are very proud of on our primary ballots, and doubled the number of females who were running for congressional seats. So that's sort of where I've been, where I've come from. Now it's my honor to serve as vice chair. I'll just tell you that Lieutenant Colonel Allen West and I have hit the ground running. In fact, the last week, I was in Harris County. I spoke at the Greater Houston Council of Federated Republican Women's luncheon there.
Wow.
And they had over 40 candidates and about 150 additional people in attendance. Also went and did a Trump MAGA meetup. From there, I went to Lubbock, where we did the Liberty Luncheon. And so got to hear from Congressman Jody Arrington and Senator Perry, our SREC representatives out there. Really an exciting luncheon because I got to meet one of the candidates that I had helped recruit and push for, Mr. Shaw, who is running for a county commissioner seat out there. And then turned around and came back to Nacogdoches. So went to their headquarters opening. Again, they had about 150 people. There's just tremendous enthusiasm throughout the state. It's my honor to go around and speak with all these people and get to meet our Republican voters.
You are working with the auxiliaries. And what can you give us a little bit about what's happening? What are the goals? Because I just think this is awesome how this is working.
So the team got in contact with me, and for those of you who are not aware, we have both auxiliaries and coalitions that are groups that are affiliated with the party, and then we have other groups that are also Republican in nature, but are not necessarily, they don't necessarily fall under that heading. So we consider them more of partners. One example of those would be the Texas Federation of Republican Women. They're a partnering organization. So basically, the thing that I'm really excited about is one of the past president of TFRW, Karen Newton, she is going to be taking on a goal to go out and find more partnering organizations. For example, the Republican National Hispanic Assembly. You know, there are organizations, I don't know if we've got a Cowboys for Trump, I don't know if we've got a Bull Riders for Trump, but basically if they're out there and they're excited, then we need to get them involved. We need to bring them on board, welcome them, help plug them into our system and get them volunteering across the state. So very excited to be working on that and pairing up those organizations and meeting them for the first time.
Wow, that would be really awesome. I've seen that the Trump campaign has actually started a number of other coalitions with the Indians, all these different races that they could come in. And we have these people, different Asian groups that are wanting to be involved. And so when you talk about the bull riders, the cowboys, the motorcycle, all of those, that is just absolutely incredible. Now, you've been getting them on a phone call too, to give them like what's coming up next for what do we have? Less than 70 days till the election. Oh my gosh. What are those calls like?
Exciting calls because we get to hear what people are doing within their communities and regionally where people are plugging in. I think one of the things that was so motivational to me, I went to the Dallas Trump rally and people were wearing their different hats, and there was a Farmers for Trump hat. There were cops for Trump. Plugging those people into the Republican Party of Texas, welcoming them, welcoming the walkaways, welcoming all of these different people who share our conservative principles and values, and finding a place for them is very important. And so I find the calls to be very motivational. Everyone shares sort of things they're working on. Most recently, one of the groups, the Asian Republicans, they flew a banner that said Asians for Trump over several different cities across the state of Texas. And so, it's just a time to share in some of the innovative things that we're doing and some of the progress that we're making, which is great.
Well, and I think that all comes down to communication, right? As we communicate with everybody, and people, knowledge is powerful, as we well know. And as we give them information, they share it with more people get involved. And just like you said, it's welcoming everyone into our group and giving them a job of some kind, even if it's just making calls to 10 of their friends to make sure that they know when early voting starts, that they can actually have a meetup, or they can whatever, we need them to be involved. And I think that's what you guys are doing, and that's really impressive.
It's exciting. It's exciting. Another thing that's happening that has just started is a morning program that's starting at 7 a.m. It's called the Morning Storm. And it's 7 minutes. It's 7 minutes long. Gail Stannert down in Houston has started it. Every morning they feature a candidate, they feature an elected official, and then they have just a little announcement about how you can make a difference in your neighborhood, how you can get out and make an impact. I was a guest on their show this morning. It's incredibly well done, and we need to make sure people around the state, you need to maybe have Gail as your next speaker, Tony Ann. It's fantastic. It's really good.
That is awesome. 7 minutes, and it's every morning.
Every morning.
Mm-hmm. And does she do a Zoom or what type of platform does she?
She does a Zoom call. They have up to 500 seats for volunteers. It's just something to get everybody energized every single morning, to get everybody out the door and rolling and thinking about how they can move forward to November.
That is so impressive. I think I'll take you up on that. I've got to give Gail a call, because that is something we could do across the nation, not just in Texas, but across the nation.
Absolutely.
I love that idea. Well, you have truly given us a lot of insight, and that you are you're making a difference, and you are paving the road, and we are getting more people out to vote, just so that they realize how important it is to have their voices heard. You could win by just one vote. And so that's what's so important to do. But now this is where we come into the part where we're starting to wrap up our call or our interview. And now you get to share something fun about you that I haven't heard, but we want to make sure all of our listeners are hearing right now. So what is your fun fact?
This is actually really something kind of special to me that I wanted to share. My grandmother is German, and she was an interpreter for the Americans during the war because she spoke German, English, and French. She married an American officer, and she immigrated. And so I thought when I was in high school and starting to take a foreign language for the first time that I would take German. And she said, "Don't be ridiculous." She said, "Spanish is the future of this country. You need to learn Spanish." That was advice given to me over 20 years ago. I appreciate it so much. She was so forward thinking. And so that is my fun or my interesting fact, that because of my German grandmother, I learned Spanish, and she was right. It was the right choice for me. So.
Well, that was, and talk about immigration and talking about welcoming people. Oh my gosh, That's awesome. That is very special. So thank you for sharing that, Kat. And thank you for being a part of Talking with Tad. We really enjoyed having you today.
Thank you for having me, Anne. It's been my pleasure.
Okay.